congratulations to myself for coming on the live streams every single day for 100 days, which is quite unexpected. But I put so much effort on every single day doing something consistently to build this habit. And today we have few of the topics that we will gonna cover. The first topic was, did an AI podcast interview for pizza? What exactly happens and the things which I learned, I'm gonna just share with you. And afterward, there is a few of the goals I spoke so many times in my channels. The goals that I will achieve from 5 years or 10 years from now. And obviously, throughout that journey, I have to make myself accountable for the things that I want to achieve. As a result, I had to report to my own channels to record those journeys. Then few years later I can able to recall these videos and evaluate myself how much I have improved. So that is the reasons I will going to give you little bit update of my goals, what I did from yesterday or day before yesterday, the moment which I said. Ultimately, I will discuss one of the projects we are planning, one of the projects that we have planned to build in upcoming days with me and one of my partners slash co-worker slash best friend, and how I got exactly reminded of that particular project suddenly today when I opened my Gmail. First, let us start for the AI podcast. As usual, I was on campus and doing my work, and after that, I went to the cafeteria to grab some lunch because I am very hungry. When I was about to step into the cafeteria, suddenly somebody just approached me as a young dude. He will, hey, come here, bro. There is some pizza slices. All of them are veggie. So can you grab one of the slice from here and do some podcast interview with me? And it is just basic things where I will going to ask you some questions about the AI, and you will gonna answer. And I need it for my one of my multimedia subjects. I said, dude, I don't need the pizza, but I'm definitely going to do the podcast interview about the AI. And when he said the AI, that's completely intrigued me a lot to get into his podcast to learn how he create the videos and what are the questions he gonna ask. One of the key lessons which I have learned today after finishing that podcast, whenever even I will speak right now, you will gonna notice majority of the times I will try to use a complete sentence, and this is the skills or tips we can say was given by that guy. Told me, hey, when you will speak in the microphones, try to say in a complete sentence. And if you say in complete sentence afterward finishing the interviews, he can able to edit that podcast and eventually show it to his professor in order to get a good grade. And that work, even right now, you will gonna notice the way I'm speaking is much more complete sentence as compared to any of my other live streams which I have done in the past. As usual, first thing first, he asked me what's your full names, or can you able to briefly describe yourself, what you exactly do in this college, and the audience, do you are you in a technology enthusiast? So obviously I just told my names, and then I told him what major that I have graduated from the college. And then onward he said that, hey, in the AI, which is currently able to create so many different kind of videos, Majority of the times it is so difficult to distinguish between the AI videos and the real humanoid videos. One of the example which I can give to you, whoever watching right now, the Google AI, that's name is Jimmy. In the Jimmy, you can put any kind of descriptions based on your imaginations, and it will gonna help you to create a video. This is just one example. Other examples where a famous actor, I forgot his name, he was eating some noodles, and that was completely created by AI. He was not doing by himself. And while he was eating noodles, many people believe that this famous actor was actually eating noodles, but in reality, he was not doing anything. Somebody else who gave descriptions to the AI. Based on the descriptions, the AI who generated the videos. So the interviewer, he asked me these questions: what is your thoughts on these particular things, especially many people, even myself, who use the social media such as Instagram, TikToks, YouTubes, and how will you gonna able to recognize those content clearly without being deceived by misinformations? And after discussing with him, one of the solutions that came to my mind, especially when he showed me the picture, is even from our early age, when we are growing up, we have learned so much stuff from the school, college, universities, and there could be one of the subjects that we can able to add in our education system is AI, because from the early age, if you are familiar with the AI, how to use the AI, and then how you can be able to recognize a certain misinformations, the other people use the AI to generate those product, how you can recognize that things, then automatically you can able to overcome the overcome the problems easily. And the way I structure when he was having the interview with me is, I give one of the examples, especially in cybersecurity, where we said that first you have to understand the problem, and if you know the problems, then it would be far more easier for you to find the solutions. Same like that in school, or maybe in the college or universities, if those institutions teach the students about those AI, don't give up. I used to be like you. Is it? All right. Thank you so much for comment. Really appreciate it. So, what happened is be happy. Yeah, man. So what happened is, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Saka free. So what happened is, whenever I said him that one, it suddenly came on my mind. I have no idea. That told him that, hey, in our education system, if we can able to add a subjects where the teacher will gonna teach the students to understand the AI, and then the students or so-called general publics can able to use those knowledge in their social medias or digital world, and it will help them to distinguish between the AI generated content and the real content. And that was the conclusions which I came to. And one of the advice which I give myself most of the times, whenever you see any kind of chances, just try to make your decisions immediately. Don't take don't take no for answer. Yes, you have to also know whether you have sufficient amount of times when you were doing certain stuff. However, the moment this guy he approached me that I can take a pizza on exchange for a podcast, I immediately ask myself, is the pizza is worth it in order to exchange for the podcast, or should I give more priority to the podcast and rejected the pizza? I told myself that give put myself in a situations where I feel more uncomfortable being asked a random questions which I never ever know, and it is completely unscripted, especially where random person is asking random questions, and he just said that, hey, I'm going to ask you some basic questions. But that also give you a little bit confidence. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is just put yourself in a situations where you do not feel comfortable, but you will gonna gain confidence over the times and learn many different kind of skills, tips, trick. Because today the things that I learned from that podcast is when you speak front of the audience, try to use a complete sentence. If you use a complete sentence, it would be far more easier for the editor or the people who do the podcast editing using the AI. It would be much more less complicated to edit and get a good output. So that was the one. And secondly, for the goals which I have told many of my viewers past few days, and especially yesterday also, when I came home very late in the morning and directly came on the live streams, I was aware my roommate was sitting next to me watching his phone at late night. The whole room was dark. He's supposed to go to sleep. However, since I was doing the live streams, and it since I was doing live streams, as a result, it will gonna disturb him a lot. That is the reasons he was scrolling in social medias. And when I have realized that, eventually end the live stream as soon as possible. But I stayed consistent, and the things which I told about the goals was cyber securities, as well as getting into a good shapes and developing an apps. This is one of the goals which I have. Memorizing Quran. Cyber security is one. The update which I have for today is there is again, I'm not using the complete sentence. This is completely weird. There is one of the big YouTuber. His name is Dhruv Ratim, and I have taken one of his courses and learn few important lessons. Especially when you are a content creator, at that time, you have to create your content in a way that, let's say, in a way that it stays full consistent and good quality. I will give you a best example. Suppose you will gonna release one of the video by Sunday, and another video you are planning to release on Friday, upcoming Friday. Right now, the upcoming Friday's video, try to get it ready on the Sunday and try to put it into your file or folder. However, release your Sunday's video immediately. Right now, when the Fridays will come, at that situations, your upcoming Sunday or Saturday's videos will be ready, and you will be releasing your Friday's video. So same like that process, I will also implement the techniques in my cybersecurity journeys, where the ultimate goal is to build a community that are related to cybersecurity in my LinkedIn personal profile. And another question many people will gonna ask me, why are you targeting on the LinkedIn in the first place? Here is the thing you have to understand. For business as well as for the jobs, career stuff, if you have a good LinkedIn profile, it would be far more easier to attract the new customers, attract the employer, as compared to the YouTube, TikTok. Why? The ultimate goal for the LinkedIn is work, job, business related. But for YouTube's majority of the contents for entertaining or consuming the information's educational. And for the TikTok, obviously, those are the contents that are used for entertaining most of the times. But right now I have also seen few of the videos where teaching some of the educational videos. My goal was for cybersecurity, whatever things that I will be learning from my mentor, from school, from college, from outside, try to make a good quality videos of the information which I gained and teach other people. One of the concern which will be rise was in cybersecurity field. One, you would not gonna be always act as a defense person. Instead, you have to also learn how to attack. That is the reasons you can't able to disclose all of the information, especially if you are making a cyber security related content, because those techniques, attacking techniques, might also be used by the bad actors to do some of the bad things in the societies, and the consequences will come after me if I show those informations. That is the reasons I decided whenever I'm gonna create any kind of videos for the cybersecurity related, some of the sensitive topics or the commands I will just blur it. Instead, I will use the techniques or the software which I have used and show them the outputs. And again, it would not be posted into my this channel whatsoever. Instead, as I said before, the LinkedIn, that would be the target positions, and TikTok also, because obviously in TikTok the grow in the TikTok is far more easier as compared to the YouTubes or the Twitch. The next one was follow the chat GPT's plan for everyday's eating. On that day, when I was measuring my weight or so-called mass, I realized my weight is much more lighter as compared to any of the regular individuals who is very masculine. It was 58, and which is crazy, by the way, because I was thinking my weight is around 65 or 68, but the weighing machines which gives the number that shocked me a lot. That is the reasons I decided why can't I get into good shapes, because as I said before in one of the streams, my brother-in-law, he also got attacked by a drunk guy one time in the area where we live. It is very dangerous. For example, any situations whenever you are fighting or having a little bit arguments with someone, and other person who is very weak and not enough masculine, at that time you can immediately go and beat him up. On the other hand, if that person is masculine, quite bulk, then the bad guy will feel little bit scared to start fighting with him. And that's the reasons I decided, you know what, just let's get into good shapes. And another thing also reminded me, on other day, late night while coming to homes, I was scrolling into social media, suddenly came across to one of the posts by the Alex Hormozy and Chris. His nickname is Chris, but I do not know his full name. The first thing he said is just get into a good shapes. After you get into a good shapes, get rich, just earn hell lot of money. Hopefully one day or maybe 10 or 20 years from now we're gonna do that. We're gonna be get rich, but get into shape is more important. And afterward, automatically you will feel more confident to achieve anything in your life, whether it is business, education, career, some of the hobbies in your life. The same analogy which I also implemented in my lifestyles, that getting into shape is more important than any other stuff. And obviously your body, it will gonna die one day, but since God has given your body, so try to take care of it in a way that it should be. It also reminded me another thing today when I went to the cafeteria after finishing the interview, AI interview with that guy. Then I was looking into all of their items, and suddenly I saw fish into that things. When I see the fish, it reminded me the Roblox games which I used to play every single day. In the Roblox games, when a player who eat the fish, the energy level goes up very quickly as compared to any kind of meats like rabbit meats. So then immediately I decided myself, you know what, let's get some fish because that would be much more healthier. So as there is, I'm using two times as a result, and that's the reasons I ate fish, for a salmon fish, by the way. That was quite not as much delicious as I expected, but it is much more healthier than getting fried chickens or some fries. All right, let's back to the second goals. Second goal was memorizing the religious scripture. Dude, that day, you know Steve Jobs, and the Steve Jobs, he has mentioned something into one of the interview he had when he was alive. Before starting a company, try to understand the purpose, and the purpose is not to make a money. If your main goal is to, you know what, I want to make a money, then eventually one day whenever things does not go according to the plan, you will gonna get bankrupt and you get into the house very quickly. On the other hand, if you have an idea that no one believe into your idea, you decided, I will going to make that idea, I will going to bring that idea into a reality, and after you bring it into a real life, then convert that ideas solutions or ideas product into your companies, and that will going to generate so much amount of money. And that's obvious, and this is how the apple was also first invented. Memorizing Quran. On the past few days, when I was looking for some partners who would be with me to memorize the Quran, it becomes so difficult to get someone's, and whoever people which I got from the Reddit, most of them are from a different countries, and because of the time differences we could not able to make it happen, none of them. Even at some point, one of the brother, he's from Africa, he book an appointment. I put it in a way that calendly, and the first day he told me, hey, these specific times we will gonna do the revisions, everything's. But when the time came in, I was there, but unfortunately he didn't show up. Because of those problems, I decided, why can't I build my own apps, and that particular apps will going to connect many different people, especially righteous people, whether it is the Islam, Christians, Buddhists, whichever religion is it, connect with each other, and they will going to practice those religious scripture, discuss some of the topics that can't be discussed into social medias. But main goal is to connect one person to another. Back to my main goals, that was memorizing Quran, which I didn't said again. By the way, before even coming on the live streams, I wrote everything on the paper. So main process of achieving the goals of memorizing Quran is to memorize 10 ayah per day, and in 1 week we're going to memorize at least 14 surah. That will be also recording into one of my different channel. I would not gonna post anything on this channel. Why not? Because this channel main goal is to build a good audience, build a community which is more safer for them to express your thought, express their opinion, rather than being too much religious perspective or too much different kind of mindset persons. I'm using the filler word again. Developing an apps. The problems which I have faced when finding the memorizations partner, it gives me an idea that if I build an apps, then it will gonna help other people to solve those barrier to memorize the Quran or understand the Bible or whichever religious scripture it is. So that is the reasons I decided, you know what, that idea I'm gonna just turn into an online platform or apps, and that will gonna help other. Again, it would not be so easy. It's gonna take a hell lot of times, but still I'm gonna put as much time as possible and try to make it happen instead of wasting time on social media. And lastly, I could not able to wake up very early in the morning, yes, today, because last night, as you guys know very well, that again myself also not very well. Last night when I came home, It was 4 a.m. in the mornings. Then I said I'm gonna wake up at 7 a.m. I put alarm into the alarmy apps, and obviously you are a human, you are not a robot. In that cases, the alarm my phone ring the alarm, but I immediately turn off the alarms because I slept only 2 or 3 hours, and after sleeping 2 or 3 hours, suddenly I just wake up after some time that holy moly, I'm getting completely late. So I immediately message in our team that I could not able to make it on time. So instead, I would be there by maybe 10:30. So when the 10:30 hit, still I'm on the bed. I was not in on my way to the work. Then eventually I contacted them and told them, hey, it would be significant delay for me, but still I will be there as soon as possible. So the lessons which I have learned is always get enough sleeps instead of wasting a lot of times. Particularly, I advise myself that try to get as much sleep as possible. You can see on my eyes that I was barely able to see, and my eyes pop up so big. And lastly, read at one of the person who asked me something today today when I opened the Gmail. Suddenly, I receive a text message. Hey, but sorry, I have not been coming to like, yo, that's fine. Good to see you, by the way. I was also not doing that much long live streams. I come very, very short period of times. Everything is weird too. I do remember you. By the way, thank you so much for tuning in. So, there is one of the story I'm going to tell you. I swear to God, this is crazy. The story is if you have a goals or if you have a dreams, if you have a goals and dreams, try to tell other people, post it into the social medias. The reasons you have to do that is because one day somebody will gonna remind you, hey, are you achieving your dreams or goals? And it same happened to me. One time when I was looking for partner, which means righteous partner who I can able to do some practice of memorizing Quran, which is a righteous scripture, I posted a text message into Reddit groups. I told them that my goal was to memorize some scripture. If anyone who is also doing the same thing, please reach out to me. I was surprised. Many people who also reach out to me, we try our best to book an schedule to do a meeting. Unfortunately, that did not happen. However, today I received a message into my Gmail, which means the Reddit, which means the Reddit notified me. Somebody messaged into my Reddit, "Hey, did you memorize the Quran? If so, how well it's going?" And even though I forget about that goals, but still that reminded me, wait a minute, so that means if you have a goals and if you tell to the people or to the world, then people will gonna reminded you whether you are achieving that goals or no. And that's quite surprising that it is true. So that is the reasons I also decided that whichever goals which I'm going to set up, I will going to share in the Reddit as well as in the social media, particularly in TikTok, YouTube or Instagrams, but not in this channel because this channel is primarily used for the playing Roblox and doing a live chatting with my own viewers. That's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everything is weird. We will gonna play some Roblox right now. And even though you can see on my eyes that I barely slept, for example, I barely slept 5 hour only. And after 5 hour, I immediately got up from the bed and went to the subway and went to my work. So right now, I'll just end the streams and we will gonna play some Roblox. Afterward, bam, immediately go to the bed. So stay blessed, stay safe. Let me